Hi guys, this is Debbie and welcome back to my channel. I'm excited to share that I was asked by Monica Taylor to be a guest designer for her blog and channel, Taylormadecards4U. So for today's project, I'm sharing a set of vintage style cards that I made using her Santa's Workshop digital passport kit. So first I'm going to just flip through the different pages that you get in this digital download. There's some very, very pretty vintage style pattern paper and this bunch of different ephemera. Also showing another thing that I found on her page, which was a free download for that music paper. So I'm going to go through 6 different cards, just how I put those together. These turned out, I think, really, really pretty. You know how when you start making something, first go around, you're not quite sure if you like it the way it is, and then you look back at it a couple of days later and you can't believe that it was as pretty as it turned out. So I really, really love these. I made everything on excuse me, 300 GSM 110 pound heavyweight cardstock from Michaels. And I made those into each of the card bases, and I did print all of this over onto some medium weight cardstock so that the cards wouldn't be too thick. And then I'm just arranging the different pages with the ephemera, the different backgrounds as to how I think that I want them to turn out. So this one I'm using my wish list for Santa is the main focal point on there, and then you've got a piece of ephemera that shows Santa chatting with the kid. I thought that was pretty cute. I'm just adhering everything with my dot liner, and you can use whatever adhesive works best for you. And for each of my cards, I am leaving that thin line of white around the edges of the base panel. I decided to add a little extra embellishment to this, so I'm using some gold stickles for this first card, just framing that little conversation between Santa and the child. I think that turned out really pretty, just added a little bit of sparkle to the card. And here's my first card all finished. For this next card, I'm going to be using this pattern paper as a excuse me, as a mat, and then using the Santa Claus from the Desk of Santa Claus ephemera piece as the main panel for the card. So I'm just going to layer those up and glue those down with my dot liner adhesive. And then for the focal point, I'm going to use this ephemera piece that says "Wishing You Christmas Cheer." This is, to me, I believe that this one was a postcard from back in the day that that Monica has repurposed to be able to be used as ephemera on your cards. And then I'm going to be adding some of the snow stickles. I'm not sure what the color is because I don't see it on the bottle, but this one is an iridescent kind of white stickles, and it works real well as making for I've got it as, I'm using it in most of these cases for snow, or to go on as part of the fur or beard for Santa, and I thought it turned out really, really pretty. And basically for the rest of my cards, it's still the same process. I get the card base ready, then I get the background that I'm going to use as a mat, and get that all cut to size, glue that down, and then I layer the ephemera pieces on top. Everything coordinates so well with this paper pack that it's really easy to use. So I really love this pack. I'm going to be using it for more. Right now I've got a dozen of these cards made, but they're just so pretty. I may make more and just use this as my main design for Christmas cards this year. So for this one, the ephemera piece I'm using is one that's got these cute little birds on there with some branches. So I'm adding the stickles as the snow on the branches on this one. So the next two cards are going to be both using this one panel from the pack. I think it's gorgeous for the full thing, but I don't make cards that large, so I did wind up having to cut it back. And so I wound up cutting off the Santa and Santa's Workshop with the first child that is having one of their toys worked on. And then I'm backing that on some of the pattern paper. And I did have to resize that main image a bit just to make it so it fit with a nice mat around it. I wanted to have it centered with a little bit of a mat all the way around the image. And then I'm adding the stickles around the frame that says Santa's Workshop, and then I'm going to add it to the fur and to his beard. And here's that completed card. I have to say this is probably one of my favorites. Next I used the other half of that main panel that I just cut in half. It's got the two children on there, and I decided to use that as the entire card front and just back it on some red foil paper from my stash. I picked up the red foil paper from Michael's. I'm so glad that they got this stuff in. It is just gorgeous. For the sentiment, I'm taking one of the cinnamon stamps from Hero Art's Merry Christmas Messages, and that's just stamped off on a little piece of white cardstock. I'm actually using these for some of my tags, so I did a whole bunch of them, and I thought this would be perfect for here. I took one of the scrap strips that I've got from trimming one of the other panels, and I'm putting that as a little flag behind the sentiment. I'm just adhering that down with my dot liner adhesive. And then I'm going to embellish that a little bit with some, with some red Nuvo drops, and again with the white stickles. And this card is finished as well. So So for this last card, I decided to layer up 2 of the pattern papers as a nice mat, and then add to the front a couple of the, actually one of the ephemera pieces. So I'm using the busier of the 2 pattern papers as the bottom, and then I'm going to put the one that's in white with Santa on top of that. And again, like I said, I'm creating a mat for my main piece. So I'm adding to the front of this card an ephemera piece that is the enchantment of Santa Claus. It kind of tells the background of Santa. It looks like it's an introduction to a book. Then I'm going to trim all of that off with some of that diamond stickles, kind of to make it look like snow dripping off of a roof. And that finishes off this last card. Thank you so much for joining me as I make these 6 different cards using the Santa's Workshop Digital Passport Kit from Taylormadecards4U. I really enjoyed these. I think they turned out really cute, and I'm sure that you can create something just as adorable for yourself using her stead. Thank you so much for stopping by, and have a wonderful day.